Waking up to find that a struggling neighbor has suddenly become a millionaire overnight usually triggers deep suspicion. That sudden fortune signals a demonic pact, a contract where the purchased entity eventually seeks fresh surroundings once the current well runs dry. In certain parts of India, prosperity can be purchased on the supernatural black market, but wealth bought with black magic carries a tax paid in absolute terror. This is the Konkan region of Maharashtra, a lush stretch of India's western coast, where locals recognize a complex hierarchy of at least 15 distinct types of spirits roaming these isolated valleys. Alongside the natural beauty lies a harsh economic reality. For generations, survival in this region has meant grueling physical labor, like fishermen hauling in massive catches by hand, completely at the mercy of turbulent seas. When livelihood depends entirely on unpredictable weather and fragile crops, desperation takes hold. Desperate enough that some seek out occult solutions to solve their hardships. Most local spirits function as protectors or elemental forces tied to the environment. But the Baayngi emerges from a different source: human greed and corruption. Grinding poverty creates a dark economy where people choose to bypass years of work by purchasing a malevolent ghost. Acquiring a Baayngi requires a secretive, taboo transaction with a practitioner of the dark arts rather than a traditional summoning. This chart captures the immediate effect. The flat line represents standard local economic growth, but the moment the buyer brings the Baayngi home, wealth moves in a violently parabolic spike. To hide this anomaly, the buyer employs superstitions, blaming sudden windfalls on lucky rituals. The transaction appears flawless initially, successfully masking the parasitic nature of the contract. Beyond building capital, the Baayngi serves a violent secondary function. It ruthlessly eliminates the owner's rivals. Rivals of the owners see their lives fall apart through catastrophic business failures, sudden strings of horrific accidents, or unexplainable wasting illnesses. As a spiritual hitman, the entity leaves targets reporting an oppressive presence, flickering lights, cold spots, and shadows stretching out across the walls after sunset. The Baayngi act as a dual-purpose weapon, actively demolishing the competition while funneling stolen prosperity back into its owner's empire. A fatal flaw exists within this pact. Malice fuels this entity far more than gold. It requires a constant, uninterrupted stream of victims to satisfy its nature. Eventually, the owner runs out of enemies, or their own insatiable greed begins to fade. That marks the moment the demon's attention shifts. With no external targets left to consume, the Baayngi immediately turns its attention and hunts the very person who purchased it. A purchased demon possesses zero loyalty. The buyer was always destined to be the final victim on the entity's invoice. The lore reveals a darker architecture. The wealth functions as bait, meticulously placed to ensnare a human soul. The owner lives in a state of psychological torture, sitting inside a luxurious home, but completely paralyzed by an invisible entity they cannot escape. The buyer didn't purchase a servant. They sold themselves into eternal spiritual slavery. These fears remain active. Even today, when someone in a Konkan village experiences a sudden, unexplained windfall, you will still hear terrified whispers of the Baayngi. When an acquaintance becomes inexplicably rich overnight, looking a little closer at the shadows in their hallway might reveal the source. Have you ever witnessed success that defied all logic? Tell us about your own supernatural experiences in the comments below. Every unnatural shortcut to success carries an inescapable price tag, one often collected from the shadows.